Alrighty, I'm live. Hello, hello, hello. Happy Wednesday and all that great stuff to you. And I hope everyone is well on this day. And I am live. I'm Shanquetta Cunningham of the Cares Group. And so if you are watching this video will also be posted on the YouTube page, and you are probably watching that right now. And so, thank you. Also, you can share this video because I believe and I know that it's going to help a novice in the space of starting a nonprofit and just all of these things that come up. Unfortunately, people take advantage of people's passion, of people's desperation for success, and all of these quick schemes and things come about. So I want to have a conversation about that on today, and I really hope again that this would provide some valuable insight into what not to look for and what to look for when it comes to working with a consultant or working with a company that specializes in fundraising, in particular grants and all of that good stuff. So, um, if you again are watching this live, I ask that you like, love, and share with someone that you know has a nonprofit, that has aspirations to start a nonprofit or volunteer in this space, or if you yourself, that would be great. But most importantly, it's for anyone actually, because this will probably dovetail into some other programs that you may know of that you know has been fishy or you possibly have been scammed. We're going to talk about it on today. So I'm going to give just a few more moments to really start on the heavy content, and then let you all go about your lovely day. Alrighty. While we're doing that, I'm going to be sure that I share this as well in some other spots. If I can type. Okay. What did I label this as? The official title. Oh, yes, scammers. Mm-hmm. And so it's so, especially in the grant space, it's getting so, it's really getting unreal how many people have negatively infiltrated this space. And really just, and it's always been there, let me say that, but it is really amped up since the pandemic. And again, I just want to hit on that and share some light into what I've seen and what I know. Of course, I don't profess to be just as novice and I'm like the scammer detective, but from literally the conversations I've held with people that have been scammed and have spent thousands of dollars to literally not get one single conversation, not even a grant, or a grant that was totally not even for their organization. So, yes, we're going to talk about all of that so you can protect yourself and then share with someone in this space. Uh, okay. All right, I have that posted. Okay, so let me get started. And again, welcome. I'm Shanquetta Cunningham. If you are on YouTube, thank you for joining the YouTube channel, where it's a purpose through Kara's group to work with nonprofits and small businesses to help you increase your income, generate a larger impact, and of course, leverage the influence you have to create community change. I wanted to get on and share information with you today about scammers. There are just, again, a plethora in, an insanely amount of people that have entered the market and are promising these quick ways to success with nonprofits and with your organization. So literally, I was on the phone this morning with a prospect client who informed me, and there are industries, and because of just, you know, reasons, of course, legality reasons, but I will say that what I know, that there are industries out of states like California and Florida, to which I've personally worked with clients that have paid these companies thousands of dollars with these illegal, uh, they have them wired through some elite, these wire transfers. They're on the phone with these individuals are wiring thousands of dollars. They're literally talking to them, ensuring that they have the right name, have the right number. They're on the phone. Now, mind you, we are in 2022 with various ways to easily get your fund, your fee to whatever vendor, to whatever service that you are patronizing, whether that's PayPal and Square, or uh, Zelle, direct, bank transfer, what all of this, money order, check, old school ways. Anyways, and I know that wire transfers still happen. Of course, I do know that. But what has been happening is that these companies are targeting, especially in the rural areas, and they come to rural states. I am a consultant here in the state of Arkansas, and they overpromise and do not deliver. And so they're literally, I went and spoke with the client. She's on the phone with this guy who's saying, you have to use it this way, you have to give this name, and you have to give this number. And I assure you that when you pay this $3,500, you are going to have this grant for, now mind you, too, he stated that he was writing a grant application for this nonprofit. He only knew the name, did not know the mission of the nonprofit, did not have a budget. They did not give him the name of the board members or anything of that sort. And yet he wrote this $100,000 grant for their nonprofit organization. And their nonprofit organization, I'm just going to say, just to change it up, and just in case they're watching and all that stuff, I will never call out names or anything. I'm just going to say they have a nonprofit organization to mentor young kids. And literally, the grant developed was for a medical school to offer a social work programming and counseling. And then it was like from 2009. And he sent them about 100 pages of fluff. It was not even their application. And then other grant writers will understand this terminology. He did have an SF-424 on the front as if he was going to submit it for a government grant. It did not have the agency on the front cover. It did not have the congressional district information filled out. It was not complete. And this is happening so much. People are looking at these YouTube videos and these commercials and these men and women that's running around in suits, and I promise you, I could get you $100,000. Money is everywhere, and that may be true. that there is an insane amount of money, which is a great thing for nonprofits out in this space right now, but there is always a legitimate process. Now, we know that CARES Act funding and all of that was a great exception to the process, to how they expedite funding. That's on its own, and that's by the government, and that's secured. But these private entities that are promising nonprofit organizations this money, it's overselling. And what's really happening with consultants like myself, who have to tell you that we have to do, funder research, that this takes time, that grants are not 100% guaranteed, that also you may not get funded on your first time around, that it's about relationship and stewardship, and that you do have to do reporting, and that you may not get funded the second year. It makes it sound unbelievable, and that I am not the professional and other consultants are not the professional in this space, because we're not over promising and delivering these get quick rich schemes. And it's coming up with nonprofits, it's coming up with people in the businesses that saying the only thing I need is your number, and then you're going to give $50,000, and I just need your EIN, or just need your TIN and all of this stuff, and that's the only thing that you need to supply, and then $50,000. You all, everything that glitters is not gold. And we are in a dispensation of this. Everybody is an expert, because everybody has a page, and everybody goes live, and everyone's finding information. But I promise you, time will tell the next few years, the people that are actually disciplined in the profession and every day are reading and gleaning towards and gleaning to the information that really supports nonprofits, and those that are just only offering quick schemes, they're going to be found out by the Better Business Bureau. I literally just saw an article today of a woman that's in Florida that has been doing this with nonprofits and for-profit businesses. You all can, I've seen it, I know it's on Black Enterprise, I think it's on Forbes, it's making its way around. But it's not just her, but there are people in this market space that are truly scheming nonprofits. They're scheming startup businesses, because, to be honest, they're taking advantage of desperation. Because we're looking at successful people, and we're getting reels in 3 minutes of them talking as if, or buying into somehow, that it takes little work for all of these great results to happen. And that's just not the case. So I'm encouraging you, if you are interviewing with a consultant should be asking you questions that not only addresses what it is that you are needing with your nonprofit, whether that's your systems and your structure, or your sales, which is your donations, and how you're gathering your funding. They should be speaking to you in that context, and then asking you about your plans and your plans for growth, and then advising you on how to put a strategic plan of action together to meet that goal. If the only thing that you are hearing, and the only thing that they say, is that I can teach you to skip all of these steps to get you the money you need. Don't you need money right now? That's what I can do. Just sit back and think about that for a moment. And I get it. I promise you. I get it when you are needing that support, and you are needing that the funds to your nonprofit and your business. I promise you, I get all of that. But literally, there are people that's just taking your money with no results and giving you a cookie cutter grant that you cannot even submit. They're giving you a grant. Think about this. You're getting a grant application from these individuals. They don't even have a name for a funder. that it's going to. You don't even know which way, who they're going to send it to. And in fact, they say you do it. If you could do that and you know who to send it to, I believe you're skilled enough to where you'll say, I would have done that. But I'm going to pay you because you have a specialty that I do not have. And I'm trusting in you to do that. And then here's another thing that you know that is not legitimate. This has not just happened to me one time. Literally, excuse me, twice this month and having the conversation. Went and met with an individual, well, an organization last month, or was it earlier this month? Last month. And then I literally have seen it because I've had to do some correction with other nonprofits. They give them paper copies. If you all can't even get a copy, a tangible copy that you also can go in and update, and you can get a copy that's been emailed to you in a Word document or a shared document. Literally, you have a paper copy. So what? Every time that something new happens, or you shift programs, or you have increase in numbers or percentages, or you want to improve, want to update your outcomes and your goals, what? How are you going to do that? Are you going to type everything over? So ask questions. I promise you, I'm not the consultant that gets offended for you to ask questions, not about guarantees, because I will always be honest with you and tell you that no grant is 100% guaranteed. And if any consultant is telling you that, I promise you, I can call 10 consultants right now to that one who will verify the same thing if you just need someone else to say it other than myself. It's not going to work. As far as 100% consistency. I wish. And for you, because I know you need the support, I wish. I really do. But it's a process. It's a competition. It's like, I'm a former athlete. And so if you all understand this, if you're former athletes or you love sports, you go, you do your best. You train. Kobe Bryant was one of the best to have ever done it. You train, you do your best, you prepare, you bring your full self to the moment. And guess what? Make sure I'm still alive. And you still may not be successful in the outcome that you wanted. So, you all, I get it. And sometimes it makes it seem like myself, and if there's any other grant consultants that will be looking at this video and could attest to it, it make it seem like that somehow we don't know what we're doing, or we're not passionate or concerned about your need. We are. But any great consultant wants you to be sustainable, and know that one big grant or one a pot of money will not solve your sustainability problems. You want to be sustainable, right? You want to be able to be here in 2022 and also be serving people in 2026. You want to be able to grow and not have to figure out, if I get this large amount of money from this program, you're always trying to figure out, how do I really scheme my way to get the next set of money? And that's a skill set, you got to have it If you there, because there are people, Murdoch, I know he's off himself and all that stuff, but he ran that Ponzi scheme for years. That's a skill set that most people, you got to have and be willing to commit to a lifetime of doing something like that. And that's not you. You've built your nonprofit and you're in this space to serve other people. So be careful. Be careful of these applications that's saying if you pay $1,000 for a grant, if you pay $1,000 to apply, you're guaranteed $10,000. Run. No, ma'am. No, ma'am. Let me put an asterisk right there, that there are some entities that have especially more private foundations, you'll see this. Not anything with state or government, the state or federal or local. You will not see this. But there are some private foundations who may charge a $15 application fee or $25 application fee. That's not, it's not common. Yeah, I know you say things twice, it makes it real, but it's not as uncommon. Does that make sense? So, and then too, how you can vet these entities is to follow them. So if you see a grant and you just a grant agency and we can guarantee to you every time we submit a grant we're 100% successful, see if you can have a conversation with them. And if not, they just have this call number. You go on this site, okay, follow their site, see if they have any reviews, see if they have a social media presence that's active, not, grant making extraordinaire. And their last post was April 26th, 2017. See if they are on LinkedIn, or if you can find something about the founder, or if you can Google, you know, grant awards by grant extraordinaire. See if people have posted and shared and thank them for helping them in that aspect. You can do your due diligence. Please don't allow desperation of your financial need to uh, usurp the due diligence of looking up people. Okay, because most successful nonprofits are going to be in legitimate, let me say that, consultants and consulting firms. They're going to be sharing testimonials. You're going to see them active, right? You're going to see them, posting things on their social media accounts. um you're just going to see them. It's just you see you. I'm trying to, I don't even have to get too deep with that. You're going to see them and they're going to have a presence. Okay, so be mindful of these companies, be mindful of application fees. And let me also say, I want to say this as a point of a personal privilege moment right now. you know I'm a believer, so it's not uncommon for me to interject a scripture or mini sermonette. It is probably mini sermonette. Okay, y'all get what I'm about to say. That you may be in the same hometown with grant consultants, and sometimes personal connections, or because you see consultants in the same space and you're at the chamber meetings, or you're in these professional settings, that it could seem like people probably don't have a value to add to your organization because you're familiar with that person's personality or their person. And so don't negate the local support that you could receive to help you and build your nonprofit. And you don't have to go over to these states, like, and try to find these consultants in these states because it's like they're big and they're the city people, so they must know what they're doing. Every region has its flair, and and you all know me. I'm in the South, I'm in Arkansas. Um, and I don't subscribe to what it says that, I think the character of what, a woman should be doing in the South and all that stuff. So you all know I'm not saying that. I'm saying that you have people here that continually study to try to outperform those narratives and support your nonprofit and build your nonprofit, to disrupt the narratives that nonprofits can be profitable, that nonprofits can be successful, that nonprofit can be economic, uh, generators in their community, that nonprofits have to struggle in order to serve people that are struggling. It's I look at this. I've been in this space for 13 years. And so, from my perspective, if you always do what you've always done, you'll always get what you've already got. And being that in the South, and being that Arkansas is already in the lowest of indicators when it comes now down to economic progression, educational attainment, employment, we're always ranking in the bottom. I figure that we could do something different to transform and reshape the narrative, and that nonprofits can add value, because the narrative has been is always the woe is me narrative. Oh, we're nonprofit. People even introduce themselves with a nonprofit in the saddest of states. Hi, I'm, um, Jenny Mack, and I run uh, Feed for Souls, and we're a small nonprofit. We don't have a lot, but we try to do the best that we can. And it's like there's this buy-in of just sadness when it comes down to nonprofits. So it's my mission to disrupt all of that. Just disrupt all of that, and find creative ways to leverage funding, and to really help nonprofits think more business minded, because I really do think nonprofits are businesses with a heart. So all of that to say is that when you're speaking with consultants, they should be speaking some language that affirms that you can grow, because success is a process. Success is a journey. And we think with our nonprofit that it's the destination, or that money will solve all of our problems. Money will answer a number of them, but it definitely will not solve all your problems. You can get $1 billion donated to your nonprofit right now. It doesn't solve the problem that you still have board members who don't show up to meetings. You can get $1 million donated to your nonprofit at this very moment, and it still doesn't solve the problem that you don't know how to evaluate if your programs that you're actually doing in the community are actually making impact. That's what a great consultant will help you through and help you do. They care about the totality. Now, there are some specialties, and there are nonprofit consultants that specialize in grant writing, grant research, grant funding only. That's it. And they are legitimate as well. They say, hey, this is what we do. You're going to go through an assessment. If we believe we can service you, then this is the process. That's legitimate, okay? That's legitimate as well, because I know some fantastic grant consultants, grant writing consultants, and that's their only service, grant writing. But even then, you have to be at a certain point that you have a diverse funding stream that is supplemental to the work that they do, because they also know that if you are just relying on them to write grants only, have no other funding stream, they will be blamed for your financial success or your financial decline, and they're not about that life either. So that's a process for them as well. So I will just say this. I understand you are growing, and I'm one of the consultants that have a heart to see your growth. When you win, I win. When your board is doing better, I promise you, I'm going to share that testimonial. When you do increase or your funding, whether that's grants or fundraising or sponsorships, or we've had a successful fundraising event, all of that good stuff, I am going to share that, because that adds to the validity of what I do as a nonprofit consultant and strategist. So any great consultant wants to see you win. And we're going the extra mile trying to figure out how do they win, because it's our name, it's our professionalism that's also being, you know, aligned with your success as well. So we want to make sure that you succeed. So I am going to end this because I am probably, I don't know where my clock is at. Um, I'm probably past the 30-minute mark, and that was my goal, to get off in 30 minutes because I know people are going home. So here is what I want to share with you. I would like for you to have the opportunity to join me in what I am going to say the most exclusive and ambitious group of nonprofit leaders in a program, to have me consulting with you every week, providing you high quality professional consulting that will help you avoid the pains of being scammed, of struggling and straining to figure out how do I devise a plan of success for my nonprofit, because there are people depending on my nonprofit to be successful, to get the help that they need. I want to show you how to do that in the Decision Makers Leader Circle. Y'all, I'm so excited. Next Tuesday, y'all know I'm a church girl, so somebody say next Tuesday, 8 a.m. we start. You will meet with me every week at 8 a.m. You will get a private Facebook group. You're going to get access to templates like fundraising letters and grant writing support. We're going to have speakers come in as well. This is a monthly subscription for nonprofit leaders, the decision makers, and people that are ready to make the blah, blah, blah. to make the investment and the decision to have ongoing consulting. Because here is what I know: the one and done consulting does not work. Okay, let me put an asterisk to that. It works when you're intentional about taking that step and implementing it. But if you know you're like me, I literally have a business mentor that I am listening to. Well, they meet up every day. But we need ongoing consulting. And we're going to meet every week in the morning, 8 a.m. No 5:30, no 6 o'clock p.m., no 7:30 p.m. You're like, man, I want to join this program. I want to meet with you, Shanquetta, but why so early? Because if you're meeting in the evening, you take this information and it's going to be great information, and you're in this nonprofit coaching group with other decision makers. Guess what has to happen when you end that call in the evening? Dinner, church, organization meeting, or you just want to relax from a long day at work. And then you don't do anything with that information. But if you are meeting with me at 8 a.m. in the morning, by the time you get ready to get in your car and go to work at 9 o'clock, you're ready to take that information and execute with your team and your staff. You're ready to send that email to your board members. You're galvanized and charged to be ready to use the information. And that's why I said this is an exclusive and ambitious group with the decision makers, because I want you to utilize the information, not just for me to talk with you. I'm a person of intention, implementation, execution, and results. And that's what I want for you too. So I'm going to put the link in here. It's called the Decision Makers Leader Circle. It's a subscription. Can I say that? Yeah, these words. Uh, Subscription based program. Every month, you'll be able to join me. Every week, I'm sorry, let me say it again. So, a monthly subscription based program to join me every week. Now, you can get in this program and say fourth or fifth month that you have all you need and you want to stop in the program. And he's like, I want to stop paying for the program. I'm out. You can do that. But one thing I know too for certain, I always over deliver. Every month we'll focus on a theme. We're not going to jump around with topics as well, because that just causes knowledge confusion. We're going to stay on a theme. Like we're talking about fundraising, we're going to break that down. We're going to talk about grants. We'll talk about a whole month of sponsorships. We'll talk about community support. We'll talk about building donor bases and building a list. You know, right? We'll talk about signature fundraising. When you think of signature fundraising, so for an example, when you think of Salvation Army right now, and they're out in it's Christmas time, what do you think of? Ringing the bell. You think of Goodwill. That's a nonprofit entity, but most of us are going to go right to the thrift store, right? Like we're going to talk about having earned income, all of these other things that disrupts the disrupts the traditional narrative that when you're a nonprofit, that the only thing you need to be looking for are grant opportunities. No. And I say this as a grant professional, but I'm like, we have to move beyond. We have to move beyond this because nonprofits are getting lost. And going back to our topic for today, nonprofits are being scammed by people who are overpromising. No one can guarantee you grant success. No one can guarantee you grant success. I'll be willing to say this at the White House. No one can guarantee you grant success. But what we do, we hear your story. We put together goals and objectives with your story. We ensure that there is an impact that can be made to the people that you are going to serve. We put realistic numbers and devise a budget to that. We help you evaluate how you are making an impact. And we also support you. How do you get other people to be involved in the great work that you are doing? That's a grant. In this most basic level. And we write that story for you. And sometimes it'll land well and you get that yes. And then sometimes, you know, people, funding could be up. You know, they're only awarding 20 applicants. And yours was the 22nd application that was read. They have nothing to do with the quality of the proposal. So there's other things that go on with that. But again, a professional will tell you that. Alrighty? Okay. So, I had to give you something to drink, but if y'all want to know people like what do you drink, it's Vitalife Strawberry Mint Peach Probiotic drink. They're really good. Good, you know, produce healthy bacteria and all this stuff in your body. Okay. So, again, Leader Circle, we start next Tuesday. Open enrollment now. You can join monthly subscription. I will also tell you this. Give success time. Give this program at least 3 months. Give it at least 3 months of you dedicating yourself to it. Give yourself at least that amount of time coming into the program, gleaning from what's being shared, and then implementing it. Don't think that second week this program is going to solve all your problems. Again, going back to that scamming, what people would do. But I bet you'll learn more in this program by being diligent than what you probably heard about nonprofits your whole life. And I bet you're saying like, oh, Shanquetta's talking. Yeah, I'm going to big step in this because I know what God has called me to do, and I know how I research, and I know that I literally go out and find information to bring back for your success. I do that. So sign up, give this program a try. There's my guarantee is that you will learn more. I'm not scamming, but I promise you're going to learn more. Join the circle. All right, join the Leader Circle. Okay, thank you all so much for joining me on today. If you know that this video will be helpful to others in this nonprofit space, And if you know this video will add value to other people and to other nonprofit leaders, please share this video, reference this video. And if you are needing more information about the Leader Circle, there is information on its on the page that the on the page that's in the comments. And I look forward to seeing you in the circle. Remember, do your due diligence. Don't let these people get you. Okay. Don't be scammed. Don't be so desperate for success. There are people with you, and consultants all around. I know some beautiful consultants. If you're in another state and you want to work with someone in your state, I think I saw Miss Lee on here. She's in Mississippi. Yes, I did. Miss Latoria Lee. She's in Mississippi, and she has precise grant writing services, I believe. She is legitimate, and I will vouch for her. So there are some beautiful people in this space ready to support you and ready to be honest with you about what it takes. Okay? All right. Thank you all so much for joining me. And you all have an awesome and amazing day. And I am going to figure out how to end this live because I don't see an end button. All right.